following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Couchcasters podcast. It is Tuesday, August the 15th, 2023. My partners will be along here momentarily. Tonight, we're going to be going over the position groups of wide receiver, tight end. I'm not going to lie, the wide receiver group is not exciting me like it has in previous years. It's still early. We're only a couple weeks into camp. And, we'll see how they shake out. Reports out of camp, not really so much. Hey, Parker, what's up, dude?
What's up, man?
So reports out of camp is not great on the wide receiver room. It's still early, like I said. It's a lot of opportunities there, a lot of jobs to be won, but when Saban specifically mentions in a press conference that the guys need to catch the ball,
Agreed.
That presents worry for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's up, Parker? How's it going?
Oh, yeah. Another day, another study of what Coach Saban said at his press conference. Trying to read between the lines. Yeah. I mean, as much as I want to, harp on the quarterback situation and say how bad they are compared to, Bryce Young, obviously, but receivers got to be able to catch the ball to help them out. So I think it's not a good situation. So that even if, I don't know. How are you doing, man? How you doing?
This is so odd though, because the wide receiver room has been just so deep stacked for a handful of years. And then just to go suddenly from 5 first-round wide receivers to a group of guys in a room, 4 and 5 stars in a room that can't catch, that can't run good routes, can't get open, don't fight for the ball, clap at the ball instead of catch it.
Agreed.
It's just odd. Like, I know that those 5 guys set the bar really high, okay? And we're not going to get a group like that again. The odds are very rare. But to not see any really development since the J-Mo went down in the championship game, since that moment, the rest of that game, all of last year, now up so far, this far into fall camp this year, has been a major letdown.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah. To your point, like having JMO and Mechie leave after that, and then having, there was players that were very hyped. Ajay Hall. We know how that panned out. Kobe Prentice. He's had flashes of, he's had flashes of being a great player. But I just don't think he has had enough reps yet. JoJo Earl, he's gone. He's with TCU now.
That's right. He is gone.
So, looking at it.
So, okay, Jermaine Burton. Anyway.
No, he's a dud.
He's a senior, so he's going to start. He's going to get targets. Now, he made more plays at the end of the year. I don't know what that equivalates to, but I don't know. I don't expect much from him. Ja'Cory Brooks now I expect more from. I need more consistency from that guy. He can't make catches like he made against Auburn where you just – how did he catch that? How in the world did he make that catch and then, not pop again for a handful more games or drop some more balls or like against Georgia, he tried to one-hand that catch and dropped it. It's just like, where's the consistency with this group? Where's the improvement? Where's the there's doesn't seem to be any improvement. Am I tripping?
No, I think it's got to,
There's
it's got
flashes
a lot.
there.
There's flashes, but then again, you've got a lot of entailing factors that go into it with, who was the OC at the time? Who were the coordinators for those positions, the wide receivers? I mean, as you said, honestly, here's my honest opinion. We were spoiled with the rideouts, and
Yes.
having somebody replace, being able to, if they were to go down, we got another guy who's just as good, if not better. And this is I call it the punching bag time to see if we can, figure out how to overcome a lot of these issues, because Georgia's got a lot of players too. I mean, it's not the same as it was. The college football is not the same as it was 5 years ago. It's changed so much drastically in 2 years, and it's going to continue to change. So we're going to have to find other ways to compete and get the best out of the players that we have. I don't know what that entails, though. I really don't know, though.
I mean, I don't know if it's the position coach, if it was the scheme, but the new scheme, but we're hearing the same problems out of camp that we've had the last year plus the rest of the Georgia game about drop balls and just not good routes, and I don't get it. There's talent on this list. There's flashes on this list here. But we need more than a flash every 2 or 3 games. We need consistency.
Agreed.
And, I mean, hell, Tyler Jones-Bell is not even playing this year. I think he's on IR this year, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Fonzie, would you know that one?
I've seen stuff about him. I'm not sure about the specifics.
I don't know that there's an IR in college football, but the equivalent of IR, and I think he's shut down for the season, so to speak. But I mean, Kendrick Law made a few plays here and there, but then he would disappear. Emmanuel Henderson Jr. was the top-rated running back, and they moved him to receiver.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
And then of course Kobe Prentice last year showed flashes here and there, and then he would be gone for 2 games. He wouldn't make a play for 2 games, and it's like, golly. Now that could a lot of it be scheme.
Agreed.
I think a lot of it's scheme. However, hearing Fonzie, we were talking obviously about the receiver room, but mentioning that Saban had mentioned specifically that guys need to start catching the ball.
Mm-hmm.
If you specifically mention that in a press conference, then it's a problem.
Hurts every team that has trouble with drops. It sucks.
Oh, my
They have a hard
gosh.
time moving the ball, so I don't know. I mean, hopefully Ja'Cory Brooks steps up. We really just need one dog, I think, out of the receivers. We didn't really have a dependable target last year, but Jermaine Burton, he said it a lot last year. He's a deep threat. It's what he is. It's how Georgia used him. He's a vertical receiver, and we had him running these ridiculous 10-yard routes. It's just player mismanagement. I think a lot of that will go to the wayside, but I don't know. Yeah. I can't say I'm too excited about this group, just looking at it.
This is the group that worries me the most out of any groups that we've covered or will cover besides the quarterback. But there is a bunch of 4 and 5 stars in this list right here. But then you also look and be like, how can nobody have taken hold of the jobs yet? Like, how can nobody have stood out yet? Guys are standing out for the wrong reasons.
I don't know. I mean,
is it a Holloman Wiggins factor?
I don't know. I mean, looking at it and everything, I know we had a couple transfers in. Malik Benson, I know, was a name that everybody was high on. But
he's got promise.
He has promise and he's got size, but it comes down to it. I just need people who can get some separation and really, at the end of the day, catch the ball. That's it. That's all I'm asking.
Oh, gosh.
So, I don't know.
It feels so trivial, too. It's like, like I said earlier at work, Parker, part of your title is receiver.
Yes.
Receive the ball. So that entails you being able to catch.
Yep.
Did anybody see the highlight of that dime Milroe threw in the end zone, and homie dropped it? Dude dropped it. Whoever it was, I don't remember who the receiver was, but it looked like a sweet throw. It was from a distance, and the next thing you know, the ball is spinning on the ground, and you're like, how did he drop that?
It's gonna be an issue again. Just prepare yourself.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it too is how good our receivers were for such a long time.
Yeah.
We're bound to,
you hit the nail on the head before you came on. Parker mentioned that we've been so spoiled for the last 5 years or 4 years at receiver that our expectations are unfairly high at times.
In saying that, this group is not good right now, and they weren't.
They've got a ton to improve on. I agree. I really don't know what to say to it, other than we've got some major things to overcome.
We've got some work to do, but there's talent there. There
is.
They got to tap into that. Somebody. I mean, I liked what I saw from Kendrick Law, the few plays that he made last year. It left me feeling optimistic about what he could contribute this year, next year, as he gets more experience and gets better. Henderson, I'm dying to know what this guy can do. He was a top-rated running back when we signed him, or a top-rated running back, and they immediately put him at receiver.
Oh, Emmanuel Henderson. Yeah.
Then he doesn't get on the field last year, and I mean, I don't know. Obviously, they'll forget more than I'll ever know. But I always thought it was weird they took a top-rated running back and put him at receiver, and then he couldn't get on the field last year when we had really a average at best group of receivers.
Now, I think I think it can be kind of misleading on a couple things. Yeah, they're labeled as a wide receiver, but what kind of running back is he? Is he a guy who could play some slot? Is he an H back? Is he, I don't know. Maybe that's what they've got planned for him. I don't know. All I know is we go back to it. I just need some people who can catch the ball.
Just catch it. Just catch it.
Give me one moment, guys.
There's 6 or 7 guys on this list too that are basically just the same prototype and the same player.
I don't have heights and weight. Is there a lot of speed in this group?
I mean, Prentice, Law, Preston, Hale, they're all pretty similar.
There's a lot of 6'1", 6 foot, 6'1", 6'1", 6'2", 6'1", 6 foot, 5'11", 5'11", 5'10", 6'2". Yeah, a lot of very similar size.
And see, we've gone away from the size thing. Like, we don't have a Julio Jones who, I mean, he mossed people, and he'd get away from you too because he was that fast. But
KJ Fleming is listed at 6'1", 205, and that's the heaviest receiver.
So Benson, what'd you say how tall he was?
Malik Benson is 6'1", 195.
God, I thought he was bigger than that.
From Hutchinson Community College.
He was a big pickup in the Trent. And
did he,
I guess
where was he at before that? Does anybody know where he was before Hutchinson? Wasn't he at
I do not.
At a D1 program?
I imagine he was. I could find out.
Am I making that up? Odd that he would go to Hutchinson Community College for straight out of high school.
No, he went. Yeah, he's from a smaller town in Kansas, it looks like.
Yeah, Lansing, Kansas. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he showed flashes at times, a player or two here and there where he would leave you going, see, it's in there. It's in there. We need to get more of that out onto the field in live games.
I'm interested in this one down here. 82, Jalen Hale.
Jalen Hale, 6'1", 189 from Texas.
Yes, big pickup when we got him. He was very highly touted again, but we've been talking about that literally since the show began. Highly touted, highly rated, highly ranked and recruited, and yet we can't find anybody who can catch the ball. I just find that just crazy. But looking at other names on there, Isaiah Bond, I expect he's a sophomore this year. I expect him to take that next step.
Agreed.
If you just got to have some consistency catching the ball, and if you have a quarterback who can, I'm still leaning with Ty Simpson at this point from what I'm hearing. I mean, somebody asked me today. They said, Parker, what do you think?
Right.
Do you think how do you think Alabama's going to be this year? Well, I said, you want the honest answer? I said, and they said, yeah. I said, well, depends on who the quarterback's going to be. If it's Milroe and he hasn't progressed as passing, we will go 8-4. We will go 8-4. I mean, LSU's got a quarterback.
That's my biggest fear with Milroe is he can't throw.
Texas has got. I mean, I think Quinn Ewers is real good. All right, I think he's plenty good. So there's 2 games.
Quinn can ball, man. He was lighting us up last year until he got hurt. I mean, he took him down the field a couple of times.
And then
depends what Quinn shows up.
Exactly.
Yeah. But then he was dog crap a couple other games last year, just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But he was making throws against us early in that game. He was dusting us up.
Yeah, I
before
really
Dallas put him in the dirt. But yes, I'm with you, Parker. Isaiah Bond, I expect to really take that next step.
And the same with Kobe too.
Yeah.
They've got to step up because I mean this is actually a fairly young receiving class, and I mean Jermaine will be gone this year, or Burton will be gone after this year. Ja'Cory, if he has a decent year, I would expect him to come back. I'm not seeing anything other than a 4th round grade right now. I mean, he hasn't done enough to get past that. In my opinion, he could have a stellar year this year and earn himself 2nd round pick. I don't know. I just don't think he's done enough. But yeah, and Kendrick Law too. He's another sophomore coming back. We saw him play a little bit last year, but we'll see. I
mean, he showed a flash here and there. I don't know much about some of these other younger guys, Shaz Preston, or I don't know which ones are walk-ons or anything like that. But there's players in this room. We just gotta find them. I mean, you just mentioned it. Kobe Prentice right there, sophomore. He needs to really take the next step. Isaiah Bond as well. Ja'Cory Brooks, junior now. It's time now for him to put up or shut up, really. I mean, he doesn't do a lot of talking, but, this is year 3 now. Like, we can't still be talking about Ja'Cory Brooks taking the next step. It's time.
He had some games last year.
Yeah.
He could just never take over. I mean,
too much inconsistency really is my biggest issue with him. Makes a
involved.
catch like he did against Auburn. Just insane. Clutches catch we've seen in a while. And then drops an easy touchdown against Georgia in the championship game. Then drops a couple balls last year. Then makes an insane catch in the back corner for a touchdown. And then drops 2 balls in the next 3 drives. It's like drives you nuts. It's like the baller's there. He's got the skills. Just put it together.
I know I hate to, as the term goes, beat a dead horse, but it really just comes down to this: who wants it more now? I think there's plenty of opportunity for any of them to get on the field. They know that, but it's time to show something. Show what you're made of. Get that dog out in you.
Yeah.
Because that's what I want. I want a bunch of ballers, and whatever you want to call it. I want somebody who's going to get after and give me 110%. You might not be the best player. I don't care. I just want to see the effort and consistency, as you both stated.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I mean, there's talent in there. It's in there. The dictator doesn't bring on guys that can't play.
They might benefit too from not being the focus of the offense too. Like the passing game,
I agree.
just
I really
might
think
open them up a little bit. They might have
the
some
running
easier
game is
plays
going to set
make.
this up.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I agree, Fonz.
so we may not need an 1,000-yard receiver this year. Like Ja'Cory Brooks can repeat what he did last year, and Burton can do something.
Yeah, I mean,
the receiver core will be fine, but
well, the big thing is about the running game, as it was non-existent in the last 2 years. So that if that's what we're going to put as our staple, I'm all for it. But we got to be able to catch, and we got to be able to pass the ball, or as Father Ely would say, well, if the only thing you can do is run the ball, then they're just going to put 8, 9 in the box and, force you to try and pass it. And then if you can't run it and that's your only thing, you're screwed. We've seen that before too. And it's been in those close games. We just had really stellar defenses at those times too. Heck, I can remember all the grudge matches we had with LSU from like 2010 to 2017. I mean, it was nail biters all the way up until they beat us in 19. It was they're always competitive, but that's how it is. Got to be able to play.
Well, I think the consistency part will lead us into this next group rather nicely, a nice transition. I have a little bit higher hopes, a little bit more optimism about this group than I did the wide receiver room.
Correct.
I don't know. I think Dupree is going to be a major threat.
And that's the guy from Maryland, right?
mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think Amari Niblack is going to be a threat as well. I think he's going to be a problem.
What? How big are these guys? Anybody got any stat?
Yeah. So CJ Dupree is 6'5", 257.
I was going to say he's built
I
like
like that.
NFL tight end.
I like that.
He is. He's built like a Kelsey. I mean, he's built like that now. He's obviously not going to be that good, but I think he has a real opportunity in this offense. I think Reese's offense really likes those tight end matchups, those mismatches. Tight end is the biggest mismatch on the field besides running back on linebacker. But if you got a big tight end that can run and catch, that is a problem if you utilize him. Look, see Irv Smith. Nobody had any answer for that guy.
OJ Howard.
They're getting the ball. With young quarterbacks, they're getting the ball.
Yeah. And Amari Niblack is 6'4", 233. He's probably up to about 240 now. I'd say this is these are taken a month or so ago, these heights and weights. I think I read somewhere that Niblack was up to 245 now. So if you got 245 and 257 on each side of the line that can run and block, that's really going to be a threat. Of course,
And
Robbie Oots can, the blocker.
I'd be interested to see. I know that he is listed as a tight end. I still see him more as a H-back kind of player. I can't even say because he's not nearly as big as CJ or Amari. I only think he's about like 6'2",
Which one?
maybe. Robbie Oots.
Oh, Oots, yeah.
I see him more as an H-back kind
He's
of player.
6'4".
Are you serious?
So
He's a
6'4",
big boy.
258.
I knew he would.
On the
Weight
roster.
was not the question, but I thought he was a lot. Well,
He's a big dude.
Maybe him standing next to Booker and J.C. Latham brought him back to size. I don't know.
Well, him lining up next to Proctor, who's like 6'7", 350. You're like, did he bring his son to the game? Like, who's that kid next to? Oh, that's Oots. Sorry, he's 258. Hits like a train, but he looks like a kid.
But
Like Ingram next to Derrick Henry in that midfield picture of the championship game.
And no one could believe both of those people won Heisman's in a
right?
5 to 6 year span. You're just like, what?
It's funny listening to Ingram talk about how he got wronged in that picture.
I mean, there was nothing
Henry
about being
Dorsey.
wrong.
Yeah.
Henry dwarfs
dwarfs
many people.
Yeah, who doesn't?
I mean, sorry, Mark. I'm sorry. You're 5'9". You're about my height, buddy. That's like standing next to the Statue of Liberty. It's
That's
freaking
right.
huge, man. Come on. Come on, man.
Guy's a beast.
They're both legends. Both legends.
I don't know who really is on the depth chart after Dupree and Black. I don't know. Oots is more the blocker guy, catches a ball here and there, but I'm not really sure.
Out of these guys, Oots is we're gonna see him the most behind those two for sure. Kitzelman, Lewis, and Lockwood, I think, are the only other scholarship tight ends.
Okay.
But
So I don't know why Ty
we're not
Lockwood.
gonna
I don't know
see
why
Ty.
that name ring a bell. Maybe it's just I don't know, something about that
he's
name.
He's a pretty highly coveted recruit. He's actually from Franklin, Tennessee, so
Oh, really?
right down the
Six-
road.
Yeah, 6'5", 234. That's good size coming out of walking into high school.
We can get him up to 250. There we go.
So he'll get up to 245 easy, but before the end of the season, they'll have him. Stacked and racked.
He's known for his ball skills too. They say he's
Man,
a good receiver.
see, now you're playing with my emotions.
I mean, he was a top 150 prospect at tight end. So
Dang.
watch out for him. I don't know if
I'm hoping that I'm not putting too much on Dupree in my excitement about him. It's his fault because he looks the part so much. Like when you see a picture of him in practice in uniform or something, you're like, man, that's a football player. Dude looks like that's a tight end right there. That's your George Kittle, Travis Kelce, like run and gun tight end. So please be something like that.
And looking at it, we really don't have a lot of film to justify on him on other than a couple things. I mean, I know he had a couple great big plays against Ohio State, that it seemed to be on repeat on ESPN when he transferred over to Alabama. But I agree with you, Jeff. I hope it's not all hype, and I hope that
Trying to be fair.
that that his size fits the bill and it gets cashed. So
I mean, it's all coming down to our next week's
big debate there next week.
our next week's episode. By the more quarterback stuff gets worked out, but a lot of it's going to depend on who's firing the rock. And
see, I think
they
with
throw
this
catchable
group
balls
on the screen, like they're going to benefit whoever is the quarterback. Like I don't think if Ty Simpson, who I want personally to start, I don't think if Ty Simpson is taking the snaps that we're just slinging the ball all over the place and putting up 45 points.
I agree. No,
I think between Milroe and Simpson, like our offense, as far as their floor, is pretty similar. I think Milroe's ceiling is much higher. I think Simpson is much more stable. It's kind of a rant, but anyway,
No.
I think this
rant
will
away.
help
That's why
whoever's
we're here.
Hey, well, you know what? Hey,
I agree with you, though.
Focus in on Fonzie's screen there and let him rant away.
Hey, keep ranting, baby. We'll bust this thing up. We'll stick Fonz right here in the middle. Let him fire off.
I'm out of words.
He's got stage
I'm out
fright.
of words. I'm out of words, he goes.
Oh,
But, if you go back and look at, good offenses or good quarterbacks in the NFL, they've always had a reliable tight end. Maybe not Gronkowski or Travis Kelce or somebody, but every good offense has a reliable tight end, a safety valve, so to speak. Heath Miller made a Hall of Fame career off being a safety valve.
Jimmy Graham for Drew Brees for many years for the Saints.
Jimmy Graham, Shannon Sharp, John Elway for all those years in Denver. A good tight end is an impossible matchup.
I think that was actually my next point. You jogged my memory. I think Dupree, like a lot of hype around him. Everyone's really excited to see him, but I don't know if his numbers are going to be big. I think Niblack or Knee-Black will make a lot of big plays. I don't think he's going to blow the stat sheet out of the water either, but just having Dipri, if he can get 40 receptions and 500 yards and be a red zone threat, that'll be massive.
I totally agree with that.
That would be a massive problem if our tight ends were getting all the receiving yards and catches. That means we have got some major issues with our receiving core. If our tight end, I mean, even though we've had, we've had good tight ends in the last, 5 years. OJ, Irv, even Cameron Latou coming over. I mean, he wasn't on the same level as them. But he was,
Yeah. He played hard, couldn't block, and then whenever he's running with the ball, you're like, oh God, please no.
Please don't fumble the ball.
Please don't get it punched out. Yeah. What I really would love to see is use of these guys in the red zone.
Agreed.
Tight ends in the red zone are a huge problem. Even like 6'5", just throw it high, throw it up high, throw it high to the back corner, and if he can't jump and get it, okay, on to the next one. Or even those button hook routes where they run 5 and sit down, right there at the goal line, just something. Those red zone tight ends are a real threat.
Which I think I agree with you, Jeff. I think we've underutilized that a lot. But maybe it has to go, in the last couple of years when I mean that. But maybe it goes back to is because they didn't have enough faith in the tight end position to try some of those throws. I think that might be a little telling on that. But other than that, I agree. I would love to utilize that in the red zone and in short yardage.
It was supposed to be Billingsley, but we know how that went.
Playing in the Canadian League now.
That dude had it all right in front of him.
Just couldn't get out of his own way.
Just handle your business. Play with Bryce Young. Keep your P's and Q's straight. Maximum effort, and you're a first, second round draft pick. Third round.
He was truly
pick.
A hybrid too. He was like a receiver playing tight end.
He was a freak. And then he started believing his own hype and quit working.
After 19 receptions.
Goes to Texas to play for Sark, a mastermind on offense, and still can't get out of his own way. So it's like, whatever, dude. But he was supposed to be that guy. I'm not saying that's what Dupree is. Maybe Niblack's got that kind of athleticism. But I'm hoping these guys are really a part of an integral part, of our offensive plan. They got to be able to block.
Making this up. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said they got to be able to block. That's it, because we're going to run the ball a lot. Go ahead. Whatever you're going to say.
I can't remember a time Bill O'Brien ran like a tight end in the flat within like the 10-yard line or the 5-yard line. Just get him out there, throw it back shoulder.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
We got the guys to do it, so I love that play. It beat us last year, too, in overtime.
The lack of creativity by the one and only Bill O'Brien. Now, let's just keep using the old NFL system. Let's just keep on passing the ball, not run the ball on 3rd and 2. Let's just pass it. Let's pass it. And then not utilize a tight end or come up with any kind of creativity. Sorry, that's a little bit of a rant. Getting off topic, but yes.
There were games last year where Gibbs wouldn't see the field for like 4 series in a row.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
What?
He was probably our best receiver last year.
He was our best player on offense outside of Bryce.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go 3-4 series without him being on the field. What? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
I think we were all taking crazy pills watching that crap.
It's just unbelievable. I just never.
And people watching, this is nothing new. Okay, this is nothing new. We've been griping and moaning about those two coordinators for the last 2 years, and thankfully we thank goodness we've got a change. And you know what? It might not work out, but at least it's a change of pace into something different, and somehow utilize the players that you have, and instead of just trying to force it, But I don't know.
I mean, it's just this season. Whoa, I went out of focus there. That's crazy. I don't know what it is. This season, there's so much competition for positions. There's so many unknowns. I don't recall there being this many unknowns going into a season at key positions.
It's been a while, and the crazy thing about it is, to your point, Jeff. So I did any of y'all see the AP rankings that came out for, I guess, what the preseason rankings are going to be?
Fourth?
We are.
Yeah.
We are. That's the
Who's
lowest
third?
ranking.
Ohio State.
Ohio State, yes.
Lord, Ohio State.
Georgia 1, Michigan 2,
Michigan 2.
Ohio State 3, us 4, 5 was LSU. 6 was – who was 6?
I know the top 5.
7 was like Florida State. I want to say 6 or 7 was Florida State.
They're 8.
They're 8.
Yeah.
Washington was 10.
Number 6 is USC.
Yeah.
And then Penn State, Florida State, Clemson, Washington rounds out the top 10.
Okay. So us being ranked 4th, that is the lowest ranking we've had coming into the season since the 2009, going into the 2009 season, which there was a lot of uncertainties there too. We did have a lot of players that were good, but obviously now their names are legendary across college football and into the NFL, such as Julio Jones, Mark Ingram. Heck, Greg McElroy was our quarterback then. So, I'm okay with being ranked 4th. You know what? Because that's energy and that's fuel to use. We don't have a target on our back. It's just climbing the mountain again. And you know what? Let's climb the mountain. Let's get
the underdog role. I like the. I would always dread the last few years when we would get to number 1, and I always be like, "Oh man."
That is the most Bama statement ever, though. I'm okay with being number 4.
I know.
Most teams would die to be in our situation.
Expectations are a real pain in the butt, especially basketball. We'll get to that.
And I mean, looking at it realistically, when it changes next year, when the playoff changes, I'll be okay if we end up being 10 or, getting into the playoff. That's where it matters next year. So being into the top 12, we'll probably, at that time, we'll probably lose a couple more games. But right now, starting out the season, I'm very much okay with being 4. Heck, I would
like that.
Fonz, I'd have been fine if we started at 7. I didn't care.
I mean, let Georgia take all that pressure. Let Georgia have to win, keep that ranking with their crop of average quarterbacks coming out of Athens. I'm hearing that Kirby's having a lot of the same problems we're having. Don't really have the guy.
Carson Beck.
I was just gonna say it's a preseason poll too. I mean, it's not representative of anything other than the names on your roster. Ohio
I don't
State's
really like
stacked.
preseason polls. I really hate preseason polls. Too much weight is put on a preseason poll, like for stuff later on. I think rankings should come out.
State at 1 right now.
I think rankings should come out like week 4, week 5. Let them play a game or two. Injuries have a ton to do with it.
Oh yeah,
ton to do with how these rankings shake out. Injuries play such a major part in all this.
Or if you're Texas, you're predicted to win the Big 12 and go 7-5 or 8-4. But
right before you move to the SEC.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
That'll be something. I know that's been a huge topic this week. Just listening to all college sport radio people. They're talking about the changing the changing atmosphere or landscape of college football. What does it mean? We're losing some of the great rivalries, the Civil War versus, Oregon versus Oregon State. But it goes back to this. That's been one of the biggest topics in the last couple of years, but that's what everybody asked for. I mean, 2017, 2018, when we were in college, Fonzie, you remember, we knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know that it was going to change this fast. It spread like wildfire, big time. So at the end of the day, it's about one thing for all these companies. It's money and TV deals. So I guess with that little rant, I mean, all I got to say is it'll be interesting to see what happens.
You're right.
I mean, it's all ESPN and Fox and all these people that show the games just get the teams they want. Like,
oh yeah,
it's geography doesn't make sense anymore.
No,
can't stand it.
They really should just punt conference names. I mean, just call it whatever.
If they're gonna do what they're gonna do, they should just do North, East, South, and West.
Yeah,
or something.
Just clump them all together. Make Oregon play New Mexico State every year.
Like all that realignment, what conference is going to have teams in 3 different time zones? So if you think about it, it's brilliant because they'll have games all day, morning all the way up till midnight.
Yeah. I mean,
not
the
good
money
games,
plays great, but
they'll have their games on all day. Yeah. Man, this realignment thing is nuts.
It is. It is, but
we're gonna have 5 conferences with 20 teams a pop, or like 4 with 20 teams by the time it's all said and done.
And to think about it too, when they listened to it earlier, I know that with Texas and Oklahoma, we'll be at 16. Is that right? 16 teams.
Mm-hmm.
So
2 more coming in the next couple of years. You can book that.
Florida State and Clemson.
Or
you
whoever.
think it'll be them? Okay.
Florida State surely will be approached.
Yeah, and they've, I've
Yabo Dabo won't want to leave the comfort of the ACC. He'll want to sit up there and play.
Virginia too. I think Virginia will get a call. DC market.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the things too. As of right now, I think Greg Sankey, he's just like, no, I'm pretty good with 16 teams. I don't need anything else right now. I got the best conference. All right, I got the best teams. I'm bringing in the most money. Why change anything? But eventually, to your point, Jeff, I do see it happening. It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when. And with the playoff next year, the expansion, I would put it before 2030. I would say closer to probably 2028, maybe, that we might see some more changes. But then again, there are so many things that have to be played out and paid out to leave their conference. I know they got a pretty big buyout from the ACC. If I was not mistaken, it was over the $100 million market for Florida State because they were supposed to stay in the ACC till 2036, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong a year or two there.
Yeah, they'll never stand that long.
But see, then again, to the average fan or to the average fan base, you see $100 million, you're like, oh shit, that's a lot of money. Not for these schools. Trust me, there are donors out there there's so much money out there that it's crazy. I mean, the buyout next year, if example, Jimbo Fisher, if he does not do well this year and he goes if he goes 6-6, 7-5, I would expect him to be on the hot seat next year. And if he doesn't perform again, I wouldn't be surprised if they canned him because then his buyout's not the $100 million that it was. I think it's now down to 40, 50 million.
I'm not sure what his contract numbers are.
And trust me, if that's the case and somebody that A&M really, really wants to bring in a winner, they've got money to buy that out. The $40 million, that's chump change to them. Now, $100 million, different story. But when it comes to schools like Texas A&M, Florida State, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, the blue bloods, as I call it when it comes to college football, they can pay it out. It's just about, how much they want to pay out and when. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Well, you're not wrong. I mean, money is driving everything. I mean, it's all about the money is what's driving all of this. So, I mean, it's really all the decisions, all the whatevers will come down to money.
Yep. And you can put that in your pipe and smoke it too.
Because that's what it all is going to come down to.
Well, that's the bottom line.
Because Maverick said so. Says the shirt.
Make sure to go buy yourself one, people. Make sure to go buy one.
Scripture. There's our little QR code link to our shop right up here. There's some goofy little shirts in there. Get some stickers. Just silly stuff. But yeah, so that's where we are. We're all the way up through our wide receivers, our tight ends. Got some really good optimism for the for the tight ends, not so much for the wide receivers. Definitely got some issues there, I think, that need to be addressed or are being addressed. That are being worked on. I think it's if we notice them, the big guy does. So we'll see, man. Somebody got to step up, and a handful of guys step up and start making. Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised. In Texas, they'll show up and it'll just take off from there. I don't know. You just never know.
Happens a lot too. I mean, 1 sec. 9 months is a long time, and a lot of these guys. I mean, every year these schools have players that didn't develop well last year, but they just click in one off season. So
maybe new scheme, fresh start. New quarterbacks.
I think a quarterback will click. I know everyone's
one of them's got to.
It's been a long time since we've had true question there, but
somebody has to.
I think the quarterback.
If it's Milroe, so be it. Has he improved so much throwing the ball? Okay, so be it. One thing that oh God, now I don't want to get into that. That'll be the next episode. We can talk quarterback.
I'm glad you said that. We're going to leave. I was thinking about something, but we're going to leave that for next week's episode.
Yeah, I got thoughts that I was about to launch into, but we'll table that to the episode next week when we cover quarterbacks and running backs.
Absolutely.
I've got some thoughts on the quarterbacks. Things I've noticed, just little things I've seen in videos of practice and leaked videos, of some of those throws and practice videos that they take and post, for us to see. There's just things that catch my eye that I'll comment on next week.
Agreed.
But somebody's got to. I mean, you got no choice. I mean, do they run a type of ride and decide offense with Jalen, like the Tim Tebow 08-09 offense, 7-8-9 offense?
I mean, he's just so athletic.
There's got to be a use for him. If he's not the quarterback, they've got to find a use for him. He's too fast. He's too athletic to not be on the field in some capacity.
Quick thought. I'm not going to get into it either, but I don't think the mistakes he made against A&M last year, and I think I said it before, that was a tough game to come into and start right away. A.
Agreed. Yeah.
B. I don't think his mistakes or his issues are unfixable or he's that terrible. Like, I think some tweaks and this guy could just take off. But like I said,
it's there. It's on the cusp.
Next week. Yeah.
It's on the cusp. But yes, we'll really dive into that next week without question. But it's a good episode, gentlemen. We're a little bit shorter than we normally are. Has anybody got anything they'd like to add here on the end?
Just one. Remember to like and subscribe.
Good call.
Good call. Like and subscribe. Thank you for whoever tuned in, watching us live. I don't know who it was, but thank y'all for tuning in. Thank to whoever may come across this in their YouTube the YouTube dives, come across a couple of 3 guys just talking about Bama football. So that's what we like to do. So that's what we're going to do because we can. The season's coming. So next week, Fonzie, when we sign off, don't jump off yet. We got to run something by you after the show. But if nobody else has anything to add, I'm going to play us out of here. And we will see everyone next week when we talk quarterback and running back. But quarterback should be a good episode next week. A lot of thoughts, a lot of opinions, a lot to talk about next week when we hit the quarterback room. We all have thoughts that we'll explore next week. So thanks, everyone, and roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Tide.